You're teaching a class.
5, 6, 7.
Yeah. I didn't know you liked people enough to do that.
I'm a big fan of people.
So, Rose, my first question is for you. I'm kind of wondering about your history with aerobics. I'm 40, and so I remember my mom with like the Reebok high tops going to the racquetball center to work out, or doing step in the 90s or whatever. Like, what do you remember about sort of the aerobics boom?
Well, for my mom, exercise was still very much considered a luxury. It was not something that everybody could do or had access to or time to do that. And this show really, kind of examines that, because obviously the rise of home video became this thing of convenience. And I'm a child of the 90s, so I was more like the supermodel era, like Elle Macpherson's video. And but this is great because it examines the exact turning point, of, the kind of dance and how it then this evolution into this aerobics era. And it's interesting, the people I've talked to who were there, like in Southern California at the time, really refer to it as like a cult. Like, there's this place where these people go and they've got big hair, it's like that kind of secrecy around it back then, or that kind of like, thrilling kind of quality. So I feel like the show really tries to capture that moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of hindsight that we can look at the show and be like, oh, of course a video, like, of course it's going to do well. VCRs are going to be a thing. Do you know what I mean? But like, it's hard to sort of step away from that and be like, yeah, she might not have known at the time. Like, you have this shady dude meeting her in a food court, and like, it might not have worked out, How did she know she was making the right choice?
Yeah, I mean, Sheila wants a seat at the table. She has this ambition and she doesn't know how to articulate it or harness it. And she's not famous. She's not a celebrity. She doesn't have a platform like everybody these days. We forget, social media changed everything. Now everybody has a fitness line or a parenting blog, or everybody is their own business. And back then it was a truly a kind of revolutionary time in terms of particularly of women becoming entrepreneurs.
Well, she's also, dealing with the eating disorder on the show, and she has this sort of running inner monologue, both like berating and belittling herself. And as a viewer, it was sort of hard for me to like wrap my head around for a couple of episodes where I was like, she doesn't want to be like me. Do you know, like I was putting my own stuff onto it too. You know what I mean? And I talked a little bit about this with Annie. Like, there's a fine line of relaying sort of the fact that like Sheila is sick versus like, oh, look at her. She's great at aerobics. She has everything going for her, and sort of figuring out who she wants to be. Like, how did you sort of find your way into that and thread that needle?
It's about appearances. I mean, Sheila does look perfect. Well, why would she have any problems? She's a skinny, pretty woman, who has a seemingly pretty good marriage, and you slowly realize none of that matters. She has an illness. Like, there is a deep, deep problem with her. She has an addiction, and like any addict, the last time, this is the last time, I'm never going to do this again. I just have to do this one more time. And for me, it was about appearances. It's always about that. You can present as one thing and really, see behind the curtain about what really is going on. And, her inner monologue is uncomfortable, and it's very harsh, and it's ruthless, and it's awful, and it's, it's her illness. And hurt people.
She's also dealing with Danny, who's an almost comically awful husband. Like, he has a couple of high points of the show, Rory, but like you watch it, especially in 2021, and you're like, fuck this dude, get out of there. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you think Danny will ever learn to be better? Or is he like, in my mind, do you know Oh Hello, like the John Mulaney and Nick Kroll? Like, I'm like, he's sure. George and Gil, like in 30 years, you know what I mean? He's like living, just like hanging on. What do you think it'll take for him to sort of like figure shit out? Get with the program?
I don't know because the time period they lived in, I know what you mean when you kind of see this marriage and you see this lack of support that Sheila's getting from Danny. You're almost wondering, why would she stay in this, or why doesn't she leave? But also, it's the early 80s and people are sort of resigned to a lot of their marriages. They aren't just getting divorced. And I think those maybe something that was considered more taboo and just not something you did, or it kind of made society, like you were admitting to society that you made a mistake or you did something wrong and you chose the wrong person. And I think that's why they stay together. But I think I would like to believe that Danny could become a more supportive person, but at the same time, Danny is so deeply focused on himself that when he realizes his wife has this, other life that is seemingly doing very well, I think he probably just wants to figure out how to turn that into a profit for himself or get himself back in the limelight.
Yeah, or maybe that's his exit point. Like he's like, if I'm not the star of the show, then how can I be in this relationship? We can't say too much about that, but maybe.
Right.
You guys both have pretty strong hair looks in the show. How did your hairdo, Rose, we can start with you, affect your performance? Like, when you have the perm, when you have the big hair, do you feel more like Sheila?
Annie Wiseman had such a specific idea for Sheila. She really wanted her to fill the frame. It's very much from her perspective. And you look at images from the 80s and you think, oh my God, that you can't do that. But really, they really were so over the top. And I initially was erring on the side of, oh no, we should just restrain this a bit. And then by the end, I was like, bigger, like bigger. So it's an interesting, it's hard not to make it a parody in the 80s. And it was about always that, that fine line.
I respect it. And I also came out of it wanting just like bigger.
Right.
Last question is for you, Rory. I'm a big fan of Sarah Schaefer, who I know lives near you. And I'm wondering if you are passed at the Ha Ha Hole, which is the miniature comedy club that she created.
I don't think I am. I think there's only two men that are passed at the Ha Ha Hole, and I think it's Carrot Top and Jeff Dunham. I think those are the two pictures that are on the wall at the Ha Ha Hole. So, fingers are crossed. Who knows what the future holds?
maybe when like your special comes out and this comes out, like maybe then she'll give you
right.
Okay.
Only you have the power to change you. Are you ready to change?
Are you feeling better?
I feel more awake than I have, and I can't remember. What's in this?
Sugar-free pink lemonade and speed.